Good morning. Have y'all been sitting for a while? Sitting? Well, if you feel the need, please get up, do some jumping jacks, some neck twists or whatever. It's a long time to sit, I know. So we're going to begin this academic major presentation by introducing ourselves. My name is Carol Camperman. I'm an Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies in the College of Arts and Sciences. And my academic background is in English. I did both my bachelor's and master's degrees here at Baylor. I met my husband here at Baylor, who's also a graduate. So we kind of have that in our family. We do have a son who chose to go to a large public university down the highway, which shall not be named. But other than that one thing, we're pretty much a Baylor group.
And I am Marcy Minke. I know that it doesn't look anything like that when you see the spelling. And I have two roles here at Baylor. So one of my roles is in the biology department. I'm a senior lecturer in biology, and I've been teaching in biology for about 15 years now, mostly in genetics and cell biology type courses. And then my other role is as an associate dean for undergraduate studies, and I mostly deal with the science side of the dean's office. So, like I said, I've been here about 15 years. I did my undergraduate degree, my bachelor's degree at Texas Lutheran University, and then I came to Baylor and did my PhD, and then I liked it so much I stuck around. So here I am 15 years later.
All right, so we are going to start by talking to you a little bit about the College of Arts and Sciences. One thing that you're going to see a lot of in this presentation is the A, ampersand, and S. So whenever you see that, that's A and S, Arts and Sciences. I know that you all are being, if you haven't been already, you will be by the time orientation is over, bombarded with all kinds of acronyms and things. You just need to put them in your phone, right, so you can remember what they are. So, a little bit about the college. The College of Arts and Sciences is Baylor's oldest academic unit. So when Baylor was founded in Independence, Texas in 1845, it was essentially a liberal arts college. So we take great pride in that. We are also the largest academic unit. About 43% of all undergraduates are seeking degrees in the College of Arts and Sciences. We have 25 departments, and we have over 100 majors. So there's a whole lot for you to choose from. And just so I can get an idea, how many of you have already met virtually with your advisor? Has anybody done that?
Fantastic.
Right. That's great. That is great. Okay, so what do we have to offer in the College of Arts and Sciences? These are our 25 departments, and the purpose of showing you this slide is to show you just the breadth that is covered in our academic unit. So I don't have a laser thing on here, but I'll pretend I do. Everything, as you can see, from art and art history, political science, psychology and neuroscience, museum studies. We really have something for everybody. Okay, so let's get a little philosophical here and talk about why a liberal arts education is important and why we think it's the best way for you to get your college degree. So you'll see that our bear here is also feeling very philosophical, you can tell. He just needs a cup of coffee and he would look really philosophical, or maybe smoke a pipe, but they don't allow that anymore. Can't let bears do that. So why a liberal arts education? A liberal arts education does not teach you what to think, but we teach you how to think. And why is that important? That is a skill, knowing how to think, that you will take with you to graduate school or professional school, to the workplace. You'll apply it in your relationships with other people and your communities. Knowing how to think and how to solve problems is something that you very much get through a liberal arts education. And so sometimes the question comes up, you may have had friends ask you, well, why do you want to major in history? What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that major in math? And what we want you to come away from this session seeing is that a liberal arts education does not prepare you for a narrow choice, okay? We're not preparing you for a certain profession the way you would be prepared if you were majoring in business or education. But instead it prepares you really, again, to solve problems, to think analytically and critically and so forth. And you could see a couple of quotations up there. The first by Drew Faust, president of Harvard. It's a great tool to have in your toolkit, right? It will take you not just to your first job, but to subsequent jobs. And then Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, also talked about the importance of the liberal arts and humanities and as being part of the creative stuff that Apple is so important to Apple. Okay, so College of Arts and Sciences core curriculum. So what do you think is probably the most exciting thing that's happened at Baylor in the last 2 years? Men's national basketball championship? That was kind of exciting, right? Okay, well, so what I'm about to describe is not that exciting to you all probably, but it is to us. About 2 years ago, the College of Arts and Sciences did a major overhaul of our core curriculum. And what that means for you as students is that rather than having close to 70 hours or 70 credits needed to complete your liberal arts or your general ed requirements, you have about 50. And so we did this for a number of reasons, but a primary reason is to free up those other credit hours for you to pick up minors. If you're a BA student, it's pretty easy to do a double major. We have students that will double and triple minor. So it just gives you a lot more opportunities than we were able to offer before. And so when we started this overhaul, we thought, okay, let's go back to the very basics of what our mission statement says about us. And so we want to develop a curriculum or refine our curriculum in the way that allows us to do what you see up there on the screen. So now this is where you need to pay attention, okay? You know, there could be an evaluation at the end of this presentation. So when you think about the core curriculum, you have, and again, and the word hours means credits, basically. You may know that, you may not. Sometimes it can be a little confusing. So our core curriculum in the College of Arts and Sciences is comprised of 5 common courses for 15 hours of credit, plus between 34 and 39 hours of credit from courses that you choose from distribution lists. Okay, so everybody takes the same 5, no matter what your major. You will choose from or among the distribution list courses to round that out. Okay, so the core curriculum, you're looking at a total of about 49 to 54 hours. All right, so what are the common courses that every Baylor student takes? Of course, you know, you've already been introduced, I think, to Dr. Burleson. Dr. Burleson, our chaplain this morning. Chapel is required 2 semesters. We also require a creative arts experience. And so this is not a class, but this is where you would go to a play on campus, or you might attend an art exhibit. And so you have 12 of those to complete, and that's spread out over your time here at Baylor, although we don't want you to wait until you're a senior to try to cram 8 of them in. That is a bad idea. So, courses that are credit-bearing, have credit hours, American Literary Cultures is one. This is an American Lit class that is different in that it looks at American literature from the perspective of multiple cultures. Another common course, History 1300, United States and Global Perspective. Again, different than your usual U.S. history class in that it uses the lens of how other countries, how other nations view our country. So different in that way. The U.S. Constitution, its interpretation in the American political experience. So political science 1387, they get the prize for having the longest title, and the title says it all. You'll be studying the Constitution. And then we require 2 religion courses, Religion 1310, Christian Scriptures, and Religion 1350, Christian Heritage. Okay, so these are, when you hear the word commons, okay, this is what we're referring to. We try as much as we can to have you complete those within your first 4 semesters at Baylor. Many times that's possible, sometimes it's not, but we try to make sure you get those in as soon as you can. All right, so I mentioned distribution lists, and the titles of these distribution lists, or as we call them, DLs, are pretty self-explanatory. And I'll give you an example of the kind of courses that you would take. So communication and media literacy, you might take a speech course, you might take a course in journalism. Those are a couple of examples. Contemporary social issues, you could take a course in political science. You could take a course in sociology. Fine arts and performing arts. Okay, this will be art or music or theater. Formal reasoning, you can take calculus-based mathematics, you can take statistics, or you can take a logic class to fulfill that requirement. One, not all of those. I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to take all of them, but you're only required to take one for your gen ed. Literature and context. So this can be, when you think of British literature, you can also think of courses, religion, higher level courses that look at the Bible as literature. Research writing, again, pretty self-explanatory. The 3 options that you all will be the most interested in as incoming freshmen are English 1310, also Classics 1306, Philosophy 1301, and Philosophy, I believe it's 2365.
Sounds right.
So, you know, you're not limited to taking just courses with an English in the title, okay? You will get those same writing skills by taking these courses in philosophy and classics. So just so you know about that. 2 science courses are required. Scientific Method 1, these are lab science courses, biology, for example, chemistry, environmental science. Scientific Method 2 looks at major world, I guess, problems, you could say, that have implications in science, for science. So things like climate change, for example, that kind of thing. And then last but not least, you are required to take a lifetime fitness course. You also, in place of the lifetime fitness course, can take a civic engagement course, and it will sub for that. So you may want to make a note. Okay, does anybody have any questions? You're so silent. I know this is riveting, right? Okay, so again, common courses plus distribution lists gives you the 50 hours. Plus, you will need to choose a major. Very important. You cannot graduate without a major. Your major will generally take around 27 to 36 hours Unless you are getting a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, in that case, the hours in your major are quite a bit larger. All right, so I'm just going to let you scroll through these and just let me know if you're thinking of any of these. Do we have, I'm just going to throw a few out. Anybody interested in astrophysics? Okay.
That's such a surprise. I just knew
I'm shocked.
we would have some
shocked.
astrophysicists in here.
What about communication? Okay.
There.
All right, what about economics? Probably. You would be in the other presentation, probably. If you, yeah. Film and digital media. Okay. I like that. You put your hand up. You were certain. You did that with a great deal of certainty. That was awesome. Okay, so you get the idea. There are a lot of things for you to choose from. How about journalism? Okay, usually have some aspiring journalists. What about political science? Yes.
Several.
Yes,
yeah.
It's another very popular major. What about studio art? Theater arts.
Yeah, there we go.
You know, the theater people are always just so outgoing.
They are, and they're so proud, right?
They
Look
are.
at that.
I mean, it's like,
arts.
I want everybody to know. Oh, is there one back there too that's waving?
Back there?
Or was that somebody? Oh, okay. I thought I saw another
You know,
wave.
they shine these lights in our face. It's kind of hard to.
Yeah, we can't really see. We can't see what we're doing. Okay, so in the sciences, how many of you in this room are interested in some sort of health profession, pre-health? Whole bunch of you. Well, you better be really nice to this lady because she is in charge of a lot of that, okay? So you need to get on her good side. So you can see that there are a lot of things to choose from. How many biology majors? Again, you need to be really nice to this lady. Get to know her well.
I'll give you a list of things that I like at the end of this presentation.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
A bold chemist.
Yes.
I love it.
Bold chemist.
What about environmental science? Y'all don't care about the environment. Okay. What about mathematics?
Oh, I see one way back there. I see a math.
Yay!
2 math. Yeah.
Go math. What about psychology? What makes people do what they do? Human behavior. Very interesting.
Fascinating.
Oh, I'm sorry. Missed my little bear. I don't know. He's like looking through a telescope or something. Okay, so I mentioned theater arts and art history. We do offer, as I said, the BFA, which you all are probably aware of, and there are 3 different majors within that, within the theater department: design and technology, performance and studies, and then studio art. And we also offer a degree, a Bachelor of Science degree in aviation studies. Anybody here interested in that?
Oh, look at
that.
that. 2 right there.
Cool. Okay, so here is our little math problem thing we have going here. We've got our commons plus our distribution lists plus our core curricular, or that equals our core curriculum of 50 hours. We add a major, and I went the wrong way. But we need 124 hours, 124 credits to graduate. Okay, so you may not be a math major, you know, but even you can do that math and see that that does not add up to 124. So what else are you going to take? Well, this is where things like secondary majors come into play, double majors, minors, certificates, exploratory courses, electives, things that you just want to take for fun. And that's how you get to that magical number of 124. Okay, I think.
All right.
This is where I hand it over to you, Dr. Minky.
Yes, it's perfect.
Are you ready?
So I'm ready.
Here, here's the clicker.
Oh yeah, I need the clicker.
Let me move my notebook out of the way.
I got my notes here, right?
Okay.
So, is that a little overwhelming to you? What we just said with, you know, to get to that 124, we've got exploratory courses or certificates, double majors, secondary majors, minors. You can throw in a few minors, right? I mean, do y'all have all that figured out? Yeah, no. So everyone just take a deep breath because it doesn't matter right now, right? So, I mean, you may not even know your major yet, and that's fine, okay? But there's no rush to get there, but we just want to make sure you understand how many options you really have. So you've got this approximate 50 hours of core work, core curriculum, plus your major, but there is so much more room to do other things. So don't get stressed about it. There is no rush. But how do you start thinking about those things? How do you decide? That's where you talk to your advisors. That's where you talk to your professors. That's where you even talk to your peers and see what they're doing, right? Maybe even some upperclassmen to see what extra things they added in. And you don't have to do this. You may just say, I'm going to have a major, and then I'm just going to have fun and explore all these different classes, you know, because I've always wanted to do photography or something like this, right? It may not actually go all the way into building a minor, right? But you have a lot of options is what we're trying to tell you, and there's plenty of time. So those extra courses you take, or those minors or certificates, they may actually be a good supplement to your major because you have a certain career goal in mind, but it could also be something completely different. You know, you're going to get a minor in something that you don't think will ever directly apply to your career goals, but what a better time to be able to explore things like that, right? So lots of options there. They don't have to be some perfect match, you know. You don't have to say, I'm going to be a biology major with a minor in chemistry, right? It doesn't have to be like that. So you have a lot of options there. I want to take a minute and plug some very important people that we've mentioned already a lot here, and that's our advisors. Several of you obviously have already met with your advisors and you're registered for courses. And I bet if I asked, you would give a glowing review because we just have some amazing advisors. So you're going to hear this word a lot. We say CASA, and CASA stands for College of Arts and Sciences Advising. And your advisor is your friend. They are so knowledgeable. Half the time they know more than I do. I mean, there's times where I'll just call them up about some very rare, weird exception thing going on. I'm like, can we do this for this student, or is this something we can do? I mean, they're very knowledgeable. They are great. So make sure you're nice to them. They are your friends, all right? But the last things that we want to share with you guys is some tips for success. I know that you have already attended a session on academic thriving, is that correct? And probably had some tips for success there. So don't worry, I'm not going to overlap it with that. But I was just trying to think of some things when we look at students that come through our office, some things that, like, man, that would have been helpful to know ahead of time, all right? So some tips for success. Number one, there's this thing called the catalog. And it is super important. Has anyone seen the catalog? Does anyone know what the catalog is? Yay! Yay! It's online. It is easily accessible, all right? The Undergraduate Catalog has so much information in it. We don't even have the whole catalog memorized. A lot of times we have to go back and thumb through, well, I can't remember for that particular major, right? And so it's our friend too. You can get it online. You can download it as a PDF as well. That tells you the university policies. It tells you things like your degree requirements for whatever degree you're pursuing, or your minor, your certificates, things like that. It gives you course descriptions in the back of the catalog. You can read about different courses that are offered here. So a lot of information is in that catalog. Now, that being said, your advisors help you walk through processes like registering for the correct classes and things like that. But you also need to be familiar with the catalog because it's always good to know what you need for your particular course before going to your advising appointment, because you might have certain questions that come up based on what you read in the catalog. Well, hey, I read this. Can I do this? If I add this minor and I have this major, can I overlap courses? Things like that. So please read the catalog, know the catalog, love the catalog. The catalog is our friend, all right?
It's like the Bible.
It is. I was gonna say it, but I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Can I say that at Baylor without getting in trouble?
I think it'll be okay.
So yes, it is. It is going, it's not the Bible, right? But it's like right under that, all right? Very important.
On your little nightstand, you need to have on top your Bible, but beneath that needs to be the course catalog.
The course catalog printout right under that, okay? All right. Now there's this thing called a degree audit. A degree audit is also very important. That would be third. So it's like Bible, catalog, degree audit. The degree audit is something that you can run yourself. And if you run a degree audit, that means you're going into a system that we have called UAchieve, and you're logging in with your information. And based on your major, your minor, or all the other things you have going on, that will tell you what courses you've completed and what courses you have left based on what your major is, right? And your minor, etc. And so knowing how to do that is super important. There are tutorials. I just did a screenshot here. Like literally if you go in and you just go into the Baylor website and search degree audit, you'll come up with this website that has YouTube videos and tutorials on how to run degree audits. So extremely helpful. Your advisors are doing this too, right? But it's really good for you to know what you're supposed to be taking. You can even start planning before you ever get into your advising appointments, right? And I'm not talking about your advising appointments like early on. Don't get overwhelmed like, oh my gosh, I had my advising appointment. I did not run a degree audit. No, we're talking about down the road, like each semester as you're going to meet with your advisor, having run a degree audit to see what courses you have remaining is going to be very, very helpful for you and for your advisor as well. So know how to run and know how to read your degree audit. It's not that hard how to read a degree audit. But again, lots of tutorials for you guys to help you out. Okay, and so, the buzzword these days is adulting, or I don't know, is that out yet? I don't know, because usually by the time I catch on to some buzzword, it's already out of date. It's usually how it works, but Adulting 101. So just a little tip here that the transition to college is going to vary. For some of you, it's going to be super easy. See you later, Mom and Dad, and I'll see you at Christmas or maybe later, right? Parents, don't worry, we're not encouraging that. Okay, don't panic, right? But for some of you, that transition is going to be a little bit more difficult, right? But one thing that we encourage you to do is to jump right in and start advocating for yourself and speaking for yourself, right? That means if you have a question for your advisor about your degree or something, that you should be the one reaching out to your advisor to have that discussion, not your parents. And the reason that's super important is there's laws that are privacy laws that will not allow your instructor, your advisor, an associate dean, to talk to your parents without specific paperwork being filled out and what have you, all right? But it's super important because learning how to navigate those things, it's a life skill, right? And you're here at college, obviously, to have a specific major and to get a degree, but being in college is so much more. It's learning those life skills, right? And learning how to adult, right? We should really have that class. We should have an Adulting 101 class. That would just be fun.
We should.
That's right. Send my kids to it. But anyway, but we really want to encourage you guys to do that. And you're not going to just be left out there hanging, right? Your advisors, your instructors, etc., are helping you. They realize that adulting might be new to some of you, right? And so that's why you're here at Baylor in a caring environment, right? But we really, really, really encourage you to be the one in charge of your education. Good? All right, so you've probably heard the definition of insanity, right? Doing something over and over again and expecting to get a different result. One thing we also want to encourage you guys to do is to pursue paths that you can be successful in, right? Some of you are going to jump right into whatever major you have intended, and it's going to go great. And some of you are going to jump into a major and go, okay, wow, that's not what I thought it was. Maybe you don't like it, number one. That'd be a good reason to change paths, right? Maybe you start pursuing a particular major and you're just not very successful in it, right? But continuing to take a class over and over again and continuing to not make satisfactory grades in that class, right? That should be a sign that, hey, maybe God's got a different plan for me, right? So one thing that your professors and your advisors will continue to encourage you to do is to find paths that you're going to be successful in. Find what those gifts are that God gave you and pursue those paths. And it might change, right? Guess what? I bet if we did a little poll as far as what is your intended major now and what your major is a year from now, it's going to change, and that's okay, because again, this is all about learning to adult. You're going to change your mind, and that's okay. You're going to change your major. That's okay. You may not even have a major. That's fine, right? But we really want to encourage you guys to pursue paths that you're going to be successful in. All right, well, that concludes our session. We hope you guys had some fun with it, because we know that a lot of this stuff does tend to get boring, and we're sorry, right? We hope you have a great day. We can't wait to see you in the fall.
Right. Sick 'em.
Sick 'em.